it's overwhelming, but it's also our jobs.
Mm-hmm. Our job is only going to get harder.
It's worrisome.
This is something that's unprecedented.
Now is not the time to be a cowboy. No one has anything to prove. We're all in this together.
Welcome to Reporting from the Frontline of a Pandemic. I'm Lauren Granada, and I'm here with Maria Stephanos, evening anchor at WCVB-TV in Boston. Maria, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
My first question for you is, how have you had to adjust the way you work with everything going on right now with COVID-19?
Well, talking to you right now, Lauren, I would never be wearing these gloves, but I just... There's so many things that we're all learning about all of this. And that includes how we work. So we're social distancing. We've separated on the set. Reporters are doing reports from their homes. We can't stand close to our interviews. It's interesting. I always love to be close when I interview somebody. I always say to the photographer, I want to be as close as possible. Mm-hmm. Because I want to see and feel the nuance of the interview. I'm not sure that's ever going to happen again. So we've changed everything. The whole world has changed, so including in newsrooms.
What does that feel like for you to have to adjust to not being able to be so close to people? Does that impact your work?
No, you just accommodate and you punt and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to have to do now. And you do anything and everything you can to deal with all of this, and it's the only way we can handle it. We just evolve, and this is what we're doing now. This is how we have to be.
And how's channel?
This is not a joke. I just want you to know, I legit wear these gloves every night here in the newsroom. I do. That's
good. You're protecting yourself, yes. Your coworkers.
I don't want to get sick, and I don't want them to get sick, and I don't want to bring it home to my kids. Mm-hmm. And I want to keep anchoring, and I want to keep telling the story of what the entire world is talking about right now. Mm-hmm. I think this helps me do it, and washing my hands 50 million times a day.
Mm-hmm. Your job puts a lot of social responsibility on you. And especially at a time like this when people are looking to you for the facts and for important information, do you think that does this put extra pressure on you? And how do you kind of adjust to that?
No, that's a great question. I think no matter what story it is we're covering, we have to get it right. And we have to make sure that we're doing all of this right. So I don't think that we're stepping up our game journalistically, because we have to always be the same journalistically, whether it's COVID-19 or September 11th, or even being at Fenway Park, covering a baseball game. You have to be consistent in how it is you cover the news, and it doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't matter what has happened in the world. You have to still bring that same journalistic integrity no matter what. And I believe that we do that. I know we do. And I read things 3 times. I read them 4 times. I read them over and over. I want to make sure we're getting it right. Tonight, I just looked at a script and it said New Hampshire Governor Sununu is doing something, is following in the footsteps of Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. He's putting a stay-at-home order in place. Well, guess what? We did not put a stay-at-home order in place. It wasn't an order. It was an advisory. It's subtle, but that's what my job, I think, as an anchor is to catch those things and say, well, that's not similar. It's not the same thing. One's an advisory, one's an order. I don't care if all the things are the same. Those words are important to get them right. So I went and changed the script.
And obviously, you can't sit right next to your co-anchor. You can't sit next to Ed. What kinds of challenges have you been going through because of that?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because this evening at 7 o'clock, we were tossing out to Julie Lonchuk, a reporter who was Skyping from her home, Ed and I are so far apart, and our backs are sort of to each other now, so we can't pick up on any subtleties. So I assumed he was going to read the toss. There was no name in there. It was really my read. It was my mistake. Mm-hmm. And I assumed he was going to read it, and I paused. And usually if we were close to each other, we could look at each other and feel, okay, no, I'll read it. No, you'll read it. I had no indication if he was going to read it, if I was going to read it, and neither of us read it, and the poor reporter was just left hanging. So this is definitely, we're getting used to doing everything through our IFBs and really relying on the sounds of the newscasts, not just the person next to you and figuring it out there. It's strange. That part is really strange.
I can imagine.
We're getting it.
Yeah. Technology-wise, how much have you had to adjust? I mean, I know that there are always technical errors in any kind of technology-used production. So have you had any struggles with that?
No, no. I mean, I accept. I always say to my kids, your mother makes a million mistakes every week in front of millions of people. And you know what? That's okay. So yes, we're still figuring it out. One day the stay-at-home cameras don't look as good. The next day they look terrific, and you figure it out, and then you get better, and you make it work, and we've made it work.
And for you, how are you dealing with all of this stress, everything, all the information that comes in every hour, not being able to be in sync with your co-anchor like you usually are, and then having to go home and protect your family, stay safe with your family?
That's a wonderful question, Lauren. It's your job. It's your job. These are the moments. The true measure of a person is how you handle yourself in times of crisis. And as an anchor, it's always a crisis. It's always something, breaking news or something horrible happening or something wonderful happening. But you have to be steady in these moments. And I try to adapt that across the board of my life. And I try to bring that to my home. And I'll tell you, this is like nothing I've ever done for sure. And I'm at home and I'm waking up very early in the morning and consuming as much as I possibly can and sending in story ideas and trying to set up stories. And it's overwhelming, but it's also our jobs. Mm-hmm. This is our job, to be there and say to people, this is what's happening right now. This is what's going on. We can give you the latest. And for us to stay out of it, but to be able to provide that information and hopefully in your delivery, provide comfort in a time of chaos.
Mm-hmm. And you have viewers, obviously, who look to you for all this information. What do you do or what can you say, or what have you been saying to those who reach out to you who are worried?
Sure, they're panicked. They want to know, what's the answer to this, and can I get corona again? And I never pretend ever that I'm an expert at anything. Mm. All I can do is say, I can try to get you that information. I can say, I hear you. I can say, I'm sorry. I can say, be well, stay healthy. We're in this together. Because I really believe we are in this together. So I just try to be a comforting force and voice to people. And not everybody loves it, and not everybody's going to love you in life. But that's okay, because as long as you believe in what it is you're doing, and as long as you're kind to people, I really think that that's what makes the world go round, whether you're a news anchor or whoever you are.
Amen. That's a great message. Have you had to do a lot of research outside of work?
Yes, but where do you get it, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you get it? The World Health Organization. You have to go to those trusted sources And even now, this is all so new and so fresh that you have to question all the sources you're getting things from, just in case. I mean, we're all experiencing this together and all learning about this together. And now you've lost your sense of smell, and that's a symptom. And it's just evolving so quickly. I've never seen a story like this ever. It changes by the minute. Something happens every single hour of the day. It's incredible. It really is. And I'm touching my face, but and then I go
with the gloves
sanitize my
on.
arms. I sanitize them too. It's crazy.
Okay, good.
What are you doing?
I am at home. My family and I have been watching you. We watched you at 7:00, and we're just trying to stay calm. But you obviously have a life outside of work as well. And, how has this impacted you and, your own circle of family, friends?
Well, my kids are home. So my son goes to Boston College and my daughter lives in New York City. And I have to tell you that I'm sleeping like a baby because my kids are home. So my nest is full. But of course, my son wants to, like all of you, wants to be at college and learn there. He doesn't want to do it on his laptop. And I don't want him. Part of college is the experience of being there. And my daughter works for a production company in New York City, and they had to shut it down, of course. But we are really enjoying being together. We really are. And it's just, I look around me and I say, she's healthy, he's healthy, my husband's healthy, I'm healthy. And I tell you, I enjoy every moment that we have, every moment. You can either say, I'm going to let this get under my skin and stress me out, or you can say, I'm going to take every moment and know that I'm in, right now, it's so horrible to say, but I'm in the best job possible for this virus. I don't work at a restaurant that's been shut down. I don't work at a small business that might have to fold. I don't have to worry about selling a house. I feel so fortunate that that's what I'm doing right now. And I feel blessed that that's the position that I'm in and that my family is healthy. I'll knock on wood and do my little Greek things. And you just know that you just take it one day at a time. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, who is a recovering addict, he said something really powerful, I thought, today. He said, I always take one day at a time, and that's what recovery has taught me. And I thought, well, I'm not in recovery, but I loved that. I just thought, it's so cliche to say, let's take one day at a time, but really, let's take one day at a time. It's the way we get through. Definitely. It is.
And I have to ask you, what kind of advice do you have for journalism students now who are looking at, role models like yourself, amidst a crisis like this? What kinds of advice do you have for journalism students?
What would I say to you, Lauren? You know what I would say. Don't make the story about you. Listen to people. Just sit and listen, because those are the best stories. People want to be heard. They don't want to hear about you. They don't want to know about, people want to be heard. And you get the best stories if you just be quiet and listen. And I've learned that the hard way. I've interrupted so many people. I interrupted First Lady Laura Bush after September 11th. She was in the White House. I interviewed her. I was not in the White House. She was in Boston for an event. And I had the fortune of interviewing a First Lady. And I cannot tell you how horrifying that interview was, because I kept interrupting her. I said, where were you when you got word? I was sleeping. I said, nobody woke you up? What time? And if I think back on that interview, I shiver, but I also say, I learned so much from that. I really should have just kept my mouth quiet, let her tell me where she was, process everything she said, think about what she said, and then respond accordingly. And I learn. You learn. You guys are just starting out. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I'm so old.
I know.
But I've learned the hard way. And I've learned in front of people. And I say, make those mistakes. It's how you learn. And go back and look at them. And force yourself to say, oh, what have I done? Look at it and say, I'm going to be better next time. I'm not doing that again. Force yourself to do it. Force yourself. And you will be better. You will. Practice makes perfect. I believe that.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for all of the work you're doing to keep us informed and safe. And thank all of you for watching this episode of Reporting from the Frontline of a Pandemic. I've been talking with Maria Stephanos, evening anchor at WCVB-TV in Boston. I'm Lauren Granada.